Hey, what's up? Welcome to Space Couch. I clicked on the wrong page, so we're just going to do one of that so I can see all your wonderful comments. And as as viewers of the show know, I like it when we don't careen into the void of space. How are you? It's nice to digitally see you all, and we're just going to do a little one of these and scroll down. Wait for the page to load. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So, welcome back to Space Couch. Always good to see me, I imagine. And we're just going to go right into our sponsor, Tiger Squawk Digital and Tiger Squawk Records. Check out the upcoming Monomer and Ash. We have the test pressings. The new Bitman album is amazing. Get that. The new single from Sugar Plum Suicide. And also check out Cosmic Dread from Mr. Zoth and the Were Spiders, topping out DriveThruRPG.com. And Cedar Hill Furniture's new Liquidation EP, and the Gothicals in Roanoke, Virginia on February 14th. That's going to be great. Check all that out. You know what? You know what I'm not going to do this episode is forget the catchphrase, call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. I remembered this time. So it's good that I did so because the guest we have out here on the Cosmic Couch, the Lunar Lounge, the Stellar Sofa, is a friend of mine, someone I've known for a while, but somebody I may not necessarily know a lot about. And it's good that we're orbiting the sun because this dude has been on fire. You see what I did there? I'm not proud of it either, but we're just going to power through here on Space Couch. So let me just adjust a little bit of our solar shielding because the future's so bright from solar flares. And also from our guest, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Eric. What is up, buddy?
Hey, you just caught me relaxing in my music.
Well, you and Hollywood Steve are stars in your own right, despite being flying through the stars here on a couch that I instead of bettering the world with my technology, I just decided to lounge about in the cosmos here and interview my friends. So we're out in space. You're in Madison, Wisconsin.
I am.
We have so much to talk about. Holy crap! Let's just get this out of the way. Line of Sight is out now. It was in pre-order for a while. I was loving the 3 tracks, and you can go to nulldevice.bandcamp.com and get the new Line of Sight. It is smooth and deadly. I love it.
Smooth and deadly is not a phrase I've heard used before, but let's go with it.
But I think it's definitely applicable. Your vocals are so sort of streamy and silky and smooth.
Buttery.
The edge of Null Device is not overlooked, but sometimes takes almost a back seat to the stunning vocal performance. But this album, well, don't let me put words in your mouth. Like, what do you think about this album for you as the artist?
It's always hard to kind of encapsulate what we've been doing because this stuff sort of happens over time. We write one song, then we write another, then we write another, and it all kind of just falls together. I mean, we had a couple false starts on a few songs, and then we had a couple songs that ended up very differently than how they started. But for the most part, this is probably the first album we've done that I feel like it sounds the way we wanted it to sound from the outset, where we sat down and like, we want to write a song that sounds kind of like this or of this style, and it ended up that way. It sounds awesome. Like it does in my head, and it's that's unbelievable because that never happens.
It's got it. Like, I've only had it happen a couple of times. I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but I will, and maybe this is just coming to my mind now, the idea of a false start is a big part of that. Because
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I was just starting out, like I couldn't let go of my precious little baby song. Ever, like, even though I know in my mind this fucking sucks, man. There's no way that anybody, myself included, is gonna like this. But I'll hold on to it and put it out, and it'll be fine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's the idea of this isn't going the way I wanted it, but so that allows you to create the thing that was in your head. Like, but that's
Mm-hmm.
gotta come. I mean, this is Null Device seventh album.
Seventh album.
So I mean, you're. I always
Yeah.
thought of you as a master of your craft. I mean, even from Strongest Man in the Universe days. But
Oh, deep cut.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not making it up.
No.
The idea that I can, because music is kind of weird, to say nothing of electronic music. Tell me if what you think of this. It's like you're a little bit of it can be accidental. You're like, let's see what this filter does, and it does like a
Mm-hmm.
weird wooga waka wooga, and I guess that's the way the song goes now. But
Yeah,
it
that happened a couple times too. It's like I think off the new album Run, I was goofing around with some FM synthesizer, and I'm like, what happens if I run this into here? And like, I love that sound. Let's write a song around it, and it worked really well.
I dig it.
Other times it's just like, I'll make a pad sound like this and like this and like this, and then yeah, it ends up still sounding like crap, and I scrap the whole thing and start over.
Well, you certainly, whatever you did on Linus' side, it was some winning moves. I know it took, like we're talking about now, it took it's an iterative process, not to go full IT nerd on you, but the is there any sort of cohesive idea or emotion, if you want to get highfalutin, behind line of sight, or is it these are the pieces of this that I've put together?
It, you know, we always sort of retcon an emotional imprint or
Mm-hmm.
theme onto our stuff. Like a lot of times the albums kind of just hang together and we sequence them a certain way, and it
Mm-hmm.
sort of ends up telling a story or
Mm.
working the way we working in some emotional way that we didn't really plan out. um
Interesting.
I mean, sometimes it kind of works when, like, especially on the EP levels, like when we
Mm-hmm.
did Aphelion, that was pretty planned and considered. But a lot of times the albums just sort of fall together. It's
Mm.
just we've got three different people writing lyrics,
Oh,
and I'm
really?
writing more music. Yeah, I write lyrics for a couple of tracks. Jill writes some. Eric Edkin writes some. So between the three of us, we've got um, a lot of different voices coming in. But um,
Speaking of voices,
that would be Winston. He's expressing his displeasure for some reason. Um, but yeah, it's between the three of us. We kind of, I mean, we bounce stuff off of each other, so that
mm-hmm.
probably helps. Um, Hi, yes. Oh, yes. Hello. Yes, I
Oh
have
no,
several cats, and they will probably be joining us at some point during this. During
fantastic.
this.
I just want to acknowledge that
But
I know
yeah,
you can't
it's
see me right now, Eric, but the Skype window is randomly changing size. This happens every now and then, but you are coming in loud and clear, and
good.
that's just that's what happens when you do live quote unquote TV sometimes, and you will just get
Mhm.
we'll get randomly resizing Eric, and that will be the fun of the show. um, well, hi, Winston. My name's Brian. Very nice to sort of meet you over the internet from space. Maybe when I'm back on
Mhm.
terra firma, I'll say hi, but not pet you because I'm allergic. I love the idea of. It's a question I ask a lot here on Space Couch, uh, just because I'm curious about it. This idea of like were you telling like a cohesive element or something like that? But the fact that it's kind of a narrative either way is
Mhm.
like this accidental narrative is interesting to me. It's not something I'd thought about, but I mean, even if I'm just sort of capturing a bunch of slices in my life, like
Mhm.
it's things that I cared about maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago that now I don't, but that's still part of my own story or
Yeah.
cohesive.
I
That's
mean, it helps that like Eric and Jill and Kendra and I are all at very sort of similar places in our lives and have similar concerns and similar responsibilities, and are all kind of coming at this from sort of the same direction. So even if we're different, you know, we have different styles of writing, we still have similar themes.
Interesting.
So
well,
helps.
Let's take a look at some of those themes. I'm going to cut to the video. This will be one of a few videos that are out right now for the new album Line of Sight, out now on Distortion. We'll get into that. But this is And I Fall. Eric, you won't be able to hear this, but you and I can still talk. It'll be about a minute or so. So, very lascivious, I will say, looking video.
I'm the common denominator, spooled up like a thread. A replay of this moment where I find myself again.
Yeah.
For every new beginning, relentlessly I'll make. Each and every choice, another risk I should take.
You look fucking great. You age?
Say it's only sometimes. I'll say it yet again.
Oh.
I'll say it over and over. The same right now as then.
Now you look really good, man.
I'll say it's only sometimes. For a second I'll believe. I'll say it over and over. Just one last reprieve.
Oh, well, you're just a werewolf. There you go. Well, and that's her, right? I didn't want to. I was pretty sure, but I didn't want to throw that out there. It's actually correct. This really good kind of groove on that. Let's just go back to. Oh wait, it'll play the pause. Okay, so now we're back on regular couch, and we have teeny tiny Eric on Skype, but that's okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh well, I'll give it a minute, and if it doesn't come back, we'll fix that. It's okay. It's okay. So loved it. And check out And I Fall on Distortion. That is it's with Jim Simonic, yeah?
That is Jim Simonic's label, yeah.
Very cool.
Everything.
Check out the new Null Device at nulldevice.bandcamp.com. Unless we should go like to a different place.
No, that's the place if you want it digitally. I mean, it's also on all the major services, you know.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Spotify, blah blah blah, and you can order physical copies from Distortion as well. So.
I didn't mean to be a digitalist.
No, that's okay. I'm a digitalist myself. I get almost everything from Bandcamp.
Understood. Cool, man. So like, definitely check that out. I want to go back in time just a little bit because I couldn't not, just because in a weird world of fate, you and I at different times, but definitely the same location, both went to Wauwatosa East High School.
Yep.
Even
my best friend from kindergarten was your babysitter.
Eric Ayler's best friend from kindergarten was my babysitter. We are weirdly friends once again on the internet, largely due to yourself. It's pretty. I mean, not friends like we had some weird falling out, but like, you know how you find people again on the internet. So just because I can sort of picture the building and put you in there in my mind's eye, did that experience shape what I know to be the Null Device sound? Like, were you doing voice or violin things at that time?
I was in the orchestra, and I spent a lot of time hanging out in the music department. Wasn't a huge fan of high school in general, as most people of our sort of ilk could probably attest. But yeah, I spent a lot of time, like any study hall I had, I would sit in the music department and play with, either practice the violin, or when they bought a synthesizer, nobody wanted to figure out how to program it. So I'm like, I'll do it.
You programmed a synthesizer in high school.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I want to circle into the chat room. What's up?
I didn't really know too much about it, other than I liked listening to synthesizer music because I thought it was a neat idea. and they got this Roland D50, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this thing out, and made some
That's
weird sounds
amazing.
on it. And made some sounds that they could actually use for performance.
Really?
Earth sounds and things like that. So that was what I did with it.
That's what. Real quick, roping into the chat room, we have Grasp Logic. We have Scott from Beta Virus.
Hi, Scott.
Denisha from Standard Issue Citizen, what's up? And
Hi, Denisha.
Dre from Scilab is in the room.
Hey.
That's cool, man. I did not know that. Like, for me, you would listen to Front 242 or whatever, and it was like a magic trick. Like, I just did not know where these sounds were coming from. Can you do that with a computer? What? And so to have that sort of access to a synthesizer at that time is pretty cool, man. And then that
it was neat. I mean, I wasn't listening to. I mean, I started getting into like Front 242 and Depeche Mode in high school, but not. I was getting a lot of my music from like the Wauwatosa Public Library, and they didn't have a lot of
really
edgy music. Yeah, so I was getting my synthesizer music was like a lot of Windham Hill stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, all this like weird fusion jazz, and like so I was getting whatever I could to listen to this stuff.
Kick ass.
Yeah, and then I saw Depeche Mode at Summerfest, and Nitzareb was opening. I'm just like, oh my god!
You saw Nitzareb open for Depeche Mode.
Why am I not doing this?
Awesome. Dan Gunther is in the chat room. We have a weird little Reverence Festival reunion here on this episode between Blind Faith, Beta Virus, Gossicles, and Null Device. We're switching from the Soy Calf coffee mug to the Dr. Fate coffee mug. Because, I can stop anytime I want. So you're programming synthesizers in high school, and then you go? Is it UW for college then?
I went to UW for college, and didn't have a whole lot of access to synthesizers for a while until I actually in the CS department in the lab I was in. There was a guy writing some music software.
Oh!
And so I beta tested it. It was weird. Like you had to like define your synthesizers with a programming language. And all your filters were. It was complicated stuff.
Maximum
it was like,
nerd.
But it was like that, and it did have like a little piano roll sequencer on it. So I started writing
cool,
with that
man.
stuff. I wasn't very good with it, but I made a couple EPs that were of questionable quality with that stuff. So.
Put a pin in that. We have the mighty Matt Finelli in the chat room. What's going on, brother? Wes Turner is here as well.
Hey, guys.
Did you do like Strongest Man in the Universe on like UW software in the computer lab?
That was actually right after I graduated, and that I'm trying to remember what I used for that one. That one, I think I finally got a real job and went out and bought like Cubase 3 or something like that. And I can't remember what the synthesizer was on that one. I think it was probably like one of those really early soft synths, like Retro AS1.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I remember I had a Yamaha QY10. And then I got Madison's own Sonic Foundry acid waves, and then it just blew my mind. Like, you can do this shit on a computer. I wasn't in the comp sci. What was that building like way out, like by Union South and shit? That was a location of the first Gossicle show, by the way. Good old Union South.
Union South.
Were you in the whole? This is not a well-formulated question, but I came to Madison sort of after this DMF thing. And it was always talked to me like I just missed it. Like, were you in on DMF?
I was on DMF. I went to DMF as a spectator for like a year, and then I was on staff for a couple years after that until it finally.
For the listener, it was the Madison like underage goth night sort of thing, right?
Kind of, yeah. It it had originally started. I had like all this funding from like Safe Rides and all these other like non-alcoholic. It was basically let's see if we can come up with something for the kids to do that doesn't involve underage drinking. So they gave us, it was this dance club called Diversions for a couple years, and it was a little more like general dance club, like, you know, pop and rock and all that stuff, and it was doing pretty well. But then the funding dried up, and the union said, well, we still want to do this, we're just gonna have to scale it down. So it became DMF, and like the first half of every night was all like techno and rave, and then the second half was industrial and goth, and there was there were some special events, like we did some shows, and early on, right before I got there, they'd thrown a on rave at the UW Stock Pavilion, which was apparently I've seen pictures of it. I didn't actually get to go to it, and it was nuts. I mean, this was back in the rave days when you know, it was like all points and crazy flyers done in KPT Bryce. So yeah, we ran this club that was half techno, half goth, and then they do an 80s night once in a while, back when that was a new thing. That's cool. Considering it hadn't been the 80s for like maybe 3 years at that time.
You started like, 80s night.
Sure. Yeah, it was neat. And,
did they play any early Null Device?
Played there.
What's that?
They played some early Null Device, very early Null Device stuff that I don't even know if I have anymore.
That's cool,
I'm sure
man.
Somebody, I think Chuck Spencer probably still has.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have. Every now and then I'll find an early Caustic track that's like based on a Thundercats outtake or some shit. Yeah, we did our first show at Union South and then played 3 songs and drove to Milwaukee so we could see Stromkern. But good stuff.
Ned was a DJ at DMF.
What's
That's
that?
how he kind of. Ned was a DJ at DMF.
Nice. That's for the audience. That's Ned of Stromkern. Sort of the first hometown hero of Madison Industrial. Now carried by KLACK. We'll get into that.
Okay.
I wanted to do a segue because I'm being a little bit self-indulgent, but speaking of things like rave flyers and the fonts therein, you sort of got your start in. Was that too much? You got your start in of all things fonts. And Dan says when Blind Faith and Envy came to Madison to have pictures done by Sigrid, we met Eric and Matt, and I still think Null Device "Walk in London" is a perfect song.
Oh, well, thank you.
So you're way back at some point. You're doing these fonts. I guarantee you, you have seen one of Eric's fonts in use.
Probably. Kind of got around.
They got so around. Ogilvy, like that's 20,000 metal band shirts have your font on them. Do you still see them out in the world? Your fonts?
I still see them out in the world, and I see them, and I look at them and see all the things that I did wrong early on. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'll just draw this curve and this curve. The turning's all wrong, and like. People still made them work for years and years, and I still get people emailing me saying, "Hey, can I use this font on my book cover?" And I'm like, "Sure."
That's amazing.
If you want to, that's awesome, dude. You know,
didn't like Depeche Mode use one of your fonts for?
Some of my fonts were like, they were based off of like Depeche Mode album covers or off of various things, and. Like the story I heard is I did one that was based off of the 9 Inch Nails Sin single album, you know, that weird like disjointed thing, and it ended up like I think someone said they saw it being used on like the screensaver on the consoles that were running like the lights for one of the 9 Inch Nails tours.
That's amazing.
That's as close as I got to the real thing.
That's so cool. Matt Elliott says Ogilvy in Calgary. I don't know what that means. Although you've done KLACK at Terminus, yeah?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we saw the Ogilvy font like on a poster in Calgary.
That's amazing.
Something like that.
That's cool. It's just obviously you do backing video, or excuse me, vocals on one of the greatest gospel songs of all times. Kind of about you,
Kind of.
which is "Hey, I Have That Font." But I mean, not only do you sing like a goddamn angel, you made half the fonts listed in that song. So like, that was cool. Okay, I brought it up a couple.
Story.
What's that?
Funny story. About the fonts. Back then, I knew of Jim Marcus from D Warsaw.
Yeah.
I had no idea about D Warsaw. I knew of him as a font designer.
He was a font designer?
Oh yeah, he did some like really like some of the really famous like 90s grunge fonts.
Get out.
The remember Reconstruction Records, their logo,
Yeah.
the little, like that was from one of his fonts. That was
Get out.
Yeah, dingbat of all like all these like old Japanese samurai clan logos and stuff like that, banners, and that was from that. So yeah, I knew of Jim from that arena long before I knew of him as a musician. Now it's like, oh, that guy. Oh right, he was a graphic designer. He was
so
really
you're
good
saying that all good girls go to Helvetica?
Oh, that one hurt, Brian.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Oh, girl. I don't even know where to begin because, like, the Frankenstein's monster meets the werewolf that is KLACK. You hit the #1 spot on the dock for the single. That is, and rightly so. The music is so amazing. Like, I was talking with my friend Jared here in Boston. He's like, "Did you hear this? They wrote this in an airport." So yeah. It's some of the coolest stuff. We talked a little bit before the show about your upcoming appearance at Germany's Familientreffen.
Familientreffen, ja.
Das ist wunderbar.
Yeah.
That's so
crazy.
Did you have an idea? Like, a lot of times, like, every now and then when I'm working on a track, I'm like, okay, this is fire. This is fire. Like, did you have an idea that KLACK would be what it's becoming?
Not a clue. I mean, Matt contribute or collaborate on stuff for a long time. We kind of had this tentative idea we were going to do like a throwback like 90s rave thing. We had a title, we were going to call it Nerdy Sanchez, and and then I did a remix for you actually.
Yes.
For Straight Up Otter Time.
Yeah.
I'm like playing with the sound, like this is a lot of fun. Like, Matt, do you want to do a track in this style? And Matt's like, yeah, but this does not sound like a Nerdy Sanchez kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we need to come up with a new name. And so we came up with the name at IKEA. I believe Sigrid had made some kind of like, why don't you? We couldn't come up with a name, and Sigrid said, why don't you go to IKEA and find something that sounds
Is that cool? What happened?
So that's pretty much how it.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my God! About that. And yeah, that's where that came from. And we put out like one track thinking like it'll be like 5 people will download it and be like, yeah, this is fine. And we'd never hear anything else other than, just to amuse ourselves. Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden it's getting all these downloads and people are asking for more. And then like, I think it was the guy from Detroit Records or Detroit, however you pronounce that. It's like, yeah, is there going to be more? I'd like to put out an album put out a EP for you on vinyl. And we're just kind of like, what? So just we wrote it. We wrote an EP. We put it out, and we're doing this all ourselves. We've got the awesome power of Matt Finelli's natural enthusiasm on our side, good. And it's been a ride. I mean, it just kind of happens. And
I want to jump in real quick with Dre commented, I was in Dirty Sanchez. And Providence, Rhode Island's Ray says, I love KLACK. And Matt says, 100% Sigrid's idea, #1 wife. Aw, such a sweetheart. But Introducing the 1984 Lakar.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? It's close to that. I might have butchered it a little bit. I'm doing that.
Introducing the 1984 Renault Lakar.
Thank you. I forgot the Renault. Is so goddamn good. It's it's what's up to Anton and Stephen Kerpick says need more vinyl. It's
Working on it.
awesome.
Hopefully.
It's do you go into it like cracking up, or is it like let's actually kind of like really step into this early '90s industrial strike? What's the mindset of writing a Clack song?
I mean, I go into it thinking like, if it were like 1991, how would I be writing the music that I love? But of course, the technology is different now. I can write it without having to sit there fiddling with Emulator 2 for like
Just
get
like
the damn floppy disk to load. But
drew like 9 menus down on a little LCD screen.
exactly. But we get some ideas. I mean, sometimes we have very fully formed ideas. Sometimes we have rough concepts. Usually, I'll.
Oh no, we hit space turbulence. I'll have to come up with a button for the a space turbulence song. Sometimes they jump right back in. I can't hear Eric. Oh, Jay, we definitely know uh, uh, the actual Dirty Sanchez. Are you back?
I'm back.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we hit space turbulence, and they come right back in sometimes. So look, we're beaming the signal from the Titan, the moon. So every now and then we'll have a problem. So we were talking about the process of Clack.
Yeah, I write little demos, send them to Matt. Matt says he's got some ideas for what we want to do lyrically, or he comes in with his mindset, which is what would be the lyrics that would appeal to him if he were 19 years old and
That's awesome.
living in 1993, and we kind of run with it. It's pretty fluid, honestly. I just sit down and like, okay, I've got a wavetable synth and a 12-bit sampler and some FM synthesizers. Let's make a track with those kind of 80s drums, and let's put in some tom fills. It's all about the tom fills.
Oh, tom fills. The tom fills are amazing. Anton 10956 says, "Where are you from?" I am from Milwaukee, and Eric is. Well, you know what? I told a lie just now. We are both from the sprawling metropolis of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. After our fashion. So I just got to do a little reconfiguring. Your space connection is kind of all over the place today, but you know what? That's okay, because you're a multifaceted man who is all over the place yourself.
Okay.
Sure. At least that's the story I'm telling. I'm just gonna move myself over there, and we will just issue that, and we're back. We'll go with that. Okay. Oh, Anton's from Sweden. Hey, Anton, 10,956. So, you did Clack Live at Terminus. That's got to have that.
Live at Terminus. That was crazy, and I loved every minute of it.
Very cool. And internationally traveling superstars. You're going to Germany.
Yep, playing Familientreffen, which is funny because when we first cracked it, like people started asking for new stuff, or like Matt made some joke about we should title a track like "Please book us at Familientreffen. We think we'd be perfect for it," and we're we got a good laugh out of that. And then like a couple weeks ago, we get a message from the promoter of Familientreffen who's like, "Hey, I would love to have you guys come here and play," and Matt's like, check your messages. I don't think this is a joke.
So awesome. God, I love that. And then, so are you doing anything wild and crazy for Germany? Like, I mean, I think you speak a little bit.
speak so ridiculously little German.
Okay.
I use Google Translate for
There
a
you
lot.
go. I'm sure you'll be great. And the song that you did in the airport is pretty awesome. Was that just you guys cracking open laptops and seeing what you could kick out on a
Pretty
like?
much.
That's
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
we had like 4 hours to kill in the Minneapolis
Oh, I
airport on
love
our way
that.
back from Calgary. We had the weirdest flight routing back. We flew from Calgary to Montreal, which is way past Wisconsin. Then
That's the
flew
other
from
side.
yeah. Then we flew from Montreal. We had like an hour layover in Montreal. Flew from Montreal to Minneapolis. Had like 4 hours in Minneapolis, and then we flew from Minneapolis to Milwaukee. Got in a car and drove back home. We spent like I think a total of like 26 hours traveling that
Oh my
day.
God.
It was a long day, but we're sitting in the Minneapolis airport and we're like, we got 4 hours to kill. What do you want to do? And Matt's like, let's see if we can write a song.
That's amazing.
I had all this, well, not all the stuff, but I had a lot of the stuff on my laptop. And Matt, we had Wi-Fi, so Matt went out and like went sample hunting for airplane related samples.
That's amazing.
I started making little instrumental sounds and we threw it all together, and then I did a little cleanup on it when we got home, and we put it out like a week, like less than a week later. And it was
So the samples on that track are done on that layover for that song.
pretty much.
That's amazing. TM Granado says I can see you both better now. Yeah, we're bouncing this off of the rings of Saturn, and the signal gets a little distorted sometimes, and it's much like a Cubase 3 when you put too many like delays on one channel, it gets a little distorted and stuff closes down.
Boy, tell me about
it. Yeah, I mean, now I can, like, my computer is such now that I don't have to like bounce out the song just to listen to it. Like it,
right.
It's John Brilliant from fellow Gotsical and keyboardist of Interface is in the room. What's
Hello.
up, man? You're working on a KLACK video. Do you have a timeline on that?
Soon. I mean, I was working on some editing for it yesterday.
Oh, awesome.
Just a little cleanup here and there, and yeah, it's gonna go up soon. I think we're pretty happy with how it went.
Oh, looking forward to that. Check out that video. I'm assuming we go to klack.bandcamp.com or just the KLACK on Facebook, anything like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll be on YouTube, probably Facebook.
You won't be able to avoid it, but in case you holla, check out that KLACK video when it comes out. So a lot of guys of like the original Madtown Electro Synth Crowd, which was a compilation that got put out like thousands of years ago, know you as the guy to master music, and mastering sort of has this reputation as like the sonic dark art that few people really rarely understand. How did you even like get into it or like decide like I'm going to be this audio necromancer man?
After we did our first record, our first real record, after we did Sublimation, we sent it away for mastering, and the guy did a good job. I mean, he came back, but I was listening to him like, I wonder if I could do this. And I basically just dove into like reading books and
that's awesome,
trying stuff out. Because I mean, we did have one problem. Like one of the songs, I'd found a mix error in it, and I couldn't send the whole thing back to him for remastering. So I tried to remaster it myself because I fixed the mix error, but it was like ready to go to press, and so I kind of had to baptism by fire there, and it was okay. I got it to sound as much like the rest of the album as I possibly could, and then I said, I want to figure out how to do this because. I ended up looking for like the most cost effective way of doing it, and I realized that there's lots and lots and lots of artists of my level who their choice is either not doing it at all or going deep into debt to to get their. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be that guy who does mastering for people who wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise.
Oh man, well I mean you've done some great work for me and Finale and everybody. Thank you so much for uh, pretty much what Anthony of Science Fiction says. Mastering is a dark art, and anyone who can do it is a dark wizard. I wish I was a dark wizard. So thank you for your um, your sorcery. Um, if your influences for any of your projects, if they got together to run a fancy restaurant,
Oh
um,
God.
what might that fancy restaurant look like, and who would do what?
Oh geez, that's a tough one because like I mean, some of I'm sure like Uwe Schmidt from Adam Hart would be doing some crazy like molecular gastronomy kind of
Yes,
thing, and then like you'd have maybe like Robert Smith making sausages and
yes, and like Depeche Mode is a cranky customer that keeps on sending things back because it's no good.
oh, I see what you did there.
Yes,
Pretty much, yeah. I'm sure like Alan Wilder would be in the back, like doing all the main prep work. He'd be like making the garlic confit and
yes.
doing all the mise en place and complaining
Wow.
about it. So
Um, I mean, brace yourself for a shock, but this is the first time garlic confit has ever come up on Space Couch.
hey, every restaurant has it in their line. I mean,
Okay, okay.
well, not every restaurant, but most restaurants
The,
keep some.
the the Null Device theoretical influence restaurant certainly should. Give me one more.
One more. Let's see. I'm sure like uh, maybe Neil Tennant would be there. He'd be there as a food critic.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, he would be reviewing it, and he'd be wearing some sort of mask, so no one would knew. No one knew.
But then, as soon as he spoke, everyone would know him because he's got this super identifiable voice.
Yes.
Oh, I love perfect answer. Who, if any, might your heroes be?
Oh. You know, it's weird to say, but it's constantly shifting, and it usually tends to be people I know.
Totally.
I mean, a lot of people I know do cool stuff all the time, and I look up to them for doing that kind of cool stuff. It's not necessarily music. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's art. It's easy to say, oh, my heroes are people like David Bowie or well, not only because he wrote the song Heroes, but or like Alan Wilder, or those kind of people. But I don't know them personally, and I know a lot of other people personally, and I see what they do. Like you mentioned Jim Simonic before. I mean, that guy does everything. He puts it out on the line all the time for other people, and that's like for music and just personally, and that's. He and I may not see eye to eye on absolutely everything, but I respect the hell out of that dude.
That's amazing. That's such a good answer because it's like we place a lot of onus on that word, and why they're gonna be like these for me Henry Rollinsy type people that I'm never gonna meet, but like why wouldn't it be like you or Finale or just people that I know that have provided this sort of template? That's a really great answer, man. Thank you. So fill in this blank.
Okay.
Null Device is the blank of electronic music.
Blank of electronic music. Gonna say maybe like the Masaharu Morimoto of electronic music.
I love it. I love it because it's true. You wouldn't ascribe
it's a food reference, and he's famous for taking stuff from all over the place and just throwing it in and seeing what works. And sometimes it doesn't work at all.
That's I mean, I've seen you open for whoever, like Assemblage 23 or something like that, who I love, and you'll get like an industrial crowd in the audience, and then you bust out like a Doombeck, and everyone's going, "What is happening right now on stage?" I don't know what this is, but I love it. Like you have not ever conformed to a standard, and I think that's the coolest thing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we do what we feel like doing. I mean, it became sort of apparent early on that we were never going to be like pop stars. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what would be the point of doing this if we're not doing it just to make ourselves happy?
Mm.
So, even when it was just me and Eric working kind of on our own, and then later Dan and Chuck and Elizabeth and Jill and Kendra, we do it to we do it because we enjoy it. We do what
That's
we love,
awesome.
and the music just sort of follows.
That's
It's
amazing. I mean, that's touching on. I mean, we could talk for 2 hours, but like the Null Device has evolved, I think, a lot as a project. I mean, just the live lineup alone. Like, I mean, the
Mhm.
Dan and Chuck and now Jill, who you saw in the video, and the current lineup that I've seen, like either in Chicago or at the wonderful Sanctuary Festival in Milwaukee. There,
Mhm.
um, with such sort of a Pokemon evolve. Hey, Fires is here. What's up? Um,
Hey,
the uh, Adra says, "Look, it's one of Eric," which is
hey,
really funny. um, oh, and David of Conformco and Subspaces, and I guess
hey
if you
guys.
was here, bringing all the rock stars out. Um, do you?
Hey, buddy.
How, how do you? How? Where does? I just want to fit this in. It's a little bit non sequitur, but you've been doing Null Device for like a while, and then this KLACK thing comes along and hits number one on the dock. Like, where do you square that? Like, why this and not the other?
Uh, you know, I struggle with that a little bit because Clack kind of was. We threw it together on a lark, and we've probably sold as many records as you know, as like the first couple Null Device albums put together. And but at the same time, I've also been sort of working just in general on music for like 25
Mm-hmm.
years.
Oh,
So
really?
even though starting a new project now, it's not really starting from scratch because I'm sort of building on everything else I've done for
Sure.
the past, umpteen years. Um, and it Clack is sort of aimed at a different kind of listening anyway.
Mm.
So it scratches a different itch, basically.
Interesting.
Null Device it takes me a long time to write a Null Device song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aside from the fact that there's multiple opinions that go in and we go through multiple revisions,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, wow.
Jill listens to it and tells me, has suggestions, and Eric listens to it and has
Really?
suggestions. Kendra listens to it. Yeah, I don't want to say it's designed by committee, but because I mean, I still do most of the writing of the music side of things, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of opinions. With Clack, it's just me and Matt, and I do most of the music stuff, and Matt does the sort of vocal or lyrical stuff. We've got a very clear sort of division of
Mm.
labor on a lot of things, and we're writing a lot more. Um, it's I don't want to say it's less complex because it's complex in its own way, but it's a different kind of music. It's there's more of a steady dance beat.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of a limited number of things that I'm doing because it's a very clear cut kind of sound. Whereas with Null Device, it's kind of like, well, this song could have guitars on it and
Yeah.
a bass and 16 synth tracks and a small orchestra. This next song might be a Bhangra
Ah,
track with, a future pop bass riff or something. Like, it could be kind of
yeah.
anything. So it takes a lot longer to kind of square a lot of those things. With Clack, it's more clearly defined
Mm.
from the outset. I mean, there's variation. I'm going to throw some
Sure.
303s into this one, but um, it's not me having to record a lot of backing vocal
Mm.
takes or bring in multiple sessions with a cellist or whatnot.
Right.
So
I mean, you can make yourself sound like on Triangular. You made yourself sound like a Hindi rapper, and
yeah,
then the and then you bust out like we heard earlier, and I fall like a dance track. It's, I mean, aside from the fact that I'm just a Null Device fan, like with every new album line of sight out now, I just get so excited because I'm like, what's this one gonna be? It's like you're like you're like an industrial advent calendar. I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times. I know, like, but you.
Well, not in that particular way, but
You're the industrial advent calendar. I love it. With such a Dan says KLACK deserves all of its success. Two really
oh, thank
hardworking guys who supported everybody else. Good point. You've always been very supportive of everybody else. That was, I don't, lightning in a bottle for that Madison 2002 to 2006
really,
era.
really was.
Just like for the listener, there was like I mean, Control Shift is now a huge part of my success, if you want to call it that, and uh, uh, Strum Current, obviously, Caustic and
Caustic,
the Gothicals.
Ethnic Theory, the Gothicals, us,
Modes. They didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, Onirid Psychosis.
Yes,
was they were a little earlier. They were 90s, and they were from Black Earth, which is like the best name for a town for that band to be from. But
hey, Bjarki is here, the
hey,
Icelandic
Bjarki.
Gothical. Do you have any plans to go to Iceland? You should. It's amazing.
I've been there a couple times.
But
one of my favorite places ever.
I know you've been. But with like Null Device, you should get out there, man.
I would love to, or KLACK, either way.
Bjarki, you heard it
been
here.
My goal.
Make KLACK happen in Galkar in there. What is next for the mighty Eric Ayler?
Well, we just keep rolling with everything. I mean, Null Device has got some tracks coming out on compilations.
Nice.
We've got a few things in the pipe we always like to do a little like EP in between major albums, kind of as I don't want to say a palate cleanser, but we're something that we can do where we're taking existing music and doing things with them, like we did with Aphelion, or even like some of the previous EPs that were more single kind of thing. We're working on something there because we're like, I don't know what anniversary we're on anymore. Probably 23rd, 24th anniversary. 23rd anniversary would be kind of, apropos.
Hey.
So we're doing something there, and KLACK's working on new stuff.
Nice.
KLACK, we've got the KLACK video. Last time I talked to Jill, which was a couple days ago, she had some ideas for another Null Device video.
Very cool.
We're just kind of doing what we're doing.
Sounds good, man. Two more things I want to toss in, because we're gonna bring this rogue spaceship back into the station. One is it's actually Control Shift's birthday today, so big ups to Joe Ferraro.
Happy birthday, Joseph.
And two, you've always been really funny, like musically funny, like I jumped in on that Thomas Dolby cover, and like you've covered Konami Code, and obviously the True Blood theme that one year at Resistance Festival, and Information Society. Does that balance out? Do you the more to say something of KLACK? I mean, like, do you find that balancing it out? Any more serious songs you may have, or is it will you go naturally, or is it just?
It just kind of happens. I mean, a lot of times it isn't deliberately meant to be funny. So it's coming from like KLACK. We get some. I don't want to say guff, but we've been called like a Nitzareb parody band or something that's not really kind of how it is. It's all coming from a place of, pun intended, reverence. I mean, we loved this music, and the same is true with Null Device. I mean, we covered Thomas Dolby because I love Thomas Dolby. We covered Information Society because that is a great freaking song. Totally. I love it. I mean, it comes off as humorous because it is humorous for us to do it, and it we throw little winks and nods in there to all this stuff, but at the same time, it's coming from a place of respect and love. I mean, totally. We love this music, so it's just us being us and having a good time. And I hope it comes across. I mean,
Oh yeah.
a lot of the Null Device stuff can be pretty serious in tone, but there's if you see us live, the music may be like thematically serious, but we love performing it, we love playing it, we love getting out there and connecting with people, so it all kind of balances out in that respect. It's not, we're coming in there, we're going to be a joke band.
Yeah,
hey!
yeah.
It's, it's just us doing what we love to do, and any humor that arises from that is just kind of natural, I guess.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And the perfect answer. I mean, that's how I approach it. Like the Gothsicles is a love letter, not a parody. But so I get that, and I love the way that you came out. But speaking of a good time, everybody, please check out Line of Sight out now on Distortion, anywhere you would get CDs. You're watching this now. I know you have the internet, so go check that out. We might be getting some more vinyl from KLACK. Certainly, a music video coming out.
We've got a CD from KLACK coming out soon.
Oh, awesome! More KLACK. I love it. I love it. What's that?
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's catching up with KLACK. It's mostly a compilation of our EPs thus far. It's just we just haven't had much in the way of physical media.
You've been putting out a lot, so like I'm really oh man, physical KLACK. I love it. You can go hide some on the shelves of IKEA next to the actual KLACK.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
You heard it here first on Space Couch, unless you thought of it yourself. Right. So this is Brian for Eric for Space Couch. Nevada Hardware says everyone must clack. Hey. I am gonna go clean the coffee off my shirt because I got a little spilly, but that's okay. I get so excited about Null Device, and so Brian for Eric for Space Couch. Goodbye.
Adios.
So we're on the ending credits now. They can still hear us if you want to throw in any last minute thoughts. Thanks for having Winston on a little bit. That was cool at the top.
Yeah, he's texting me right now.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna do a Space Couch first. We're gonna jump back to the screen so we can see. Hi, Kitty. We've never come back ever from the ending credits to see anything, so I'm happy that we did it for your cat. Okay, now for real, Space